Hi, I'm Lisa Mirable, and I'm here with Robert Strickoff, the Chief External Affairs Officer for the EAC Network, and this is our More to Do podcast. Hey, Robert, how are you?
I'm well, Lisa. How are you?
I'm doing so well.
The band's back together.
Finally, right?
I was off a month. You were off a month.
I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too. I can't thank Vertigo Media enough for hosting this More to Do podcast. Lisa is a member of our board of directors, so thank you for having us, and we very much appreciate Vertigo Media and everything that you do for the EAC network.
Well, this is a passion of mine. I mean, not only doing podcasts, but I mean the EAC network is a passion of mine. And being a member of the board, I think we really have a mission about getting the word out to as many people as possible about all of the great things that we do as a group. But there's always more to do.
There's more to do. We're here at the More to Do podcast for the EAC Network. For more information on the EAC Network, go to eac-network.org. And with that, we're very happy to introduce one of our angels walking amongst us, as our president and CEO, Neela Lockle, says all the time, Monique Powell. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Lisa, for having me. I'm excited to be here. How are you guys?
We're doing well. But Monique, when I read your bio, oh my gosh, an angel walking amongst us is absolutely correct. You do such great work. You do God's work, honestly, being a supervisor of Brooklyn Clear. But I don't want to speak for you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your title, and what you do over at EAC?
Thank you. Oh, that's a big title. Angel, that's a big title, but thank you for that. I'm currently, again, the supervisor of the Brooklyn Clear program here at EAC Network. And I also am the director of our opioid overdose and fentanyl community engagement projects, which is a lot of EAC's alphabet soup, right? We have a lot of acronyms that we go by, but Brooklyn Clear in particular is our collaborative legal engagement, assistance, and response programming. And we're a part of EAC's behavioral health and criminal justice programs. So what that means is that we're not really ATIs. We're kind of like at the front end of criminal justice. That's what I like to say. We're at the front end. We're frontline workers.
You're frontline workers when it comes to drug abuse in Brooklyn. Now, that's got to be a very complicated situation for you. And I'm sure that it's not an easy task. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what exactly it is that Clear does? Because I know in 2019, we saw a tremendous rise. Right. Deaths from overdose rose 60% in 2019, and I know it's on the increase. Just speaking personally, a friend of mine who works in the Mattatuck School District within the high school has also seen a tremendous increase and says that there's one a day in the high school, one overdose a day. That they are now trained to actually help and assist the children while they're going through their overdose, while waiting for the ambulance. So, I mean, that's how it's affecting us here on Long Island. But why don't you tell us what Clear does in Brooklyn?
We're seeing a little bit of all of those things. I'm glad that you mentioned also in the high schools. Although our program deals with individuals who are over the age of 18, Brooklyn Clear has recently made it our mission to expand across the age, right? Because we know that substance use, right, like the fentanyl has no age, has no race, has no gender, right? And so our peer services are really just individuals who are themselves in the walk of recovery, right? Along with some supervision and some training, right? I'm proud to say that all of our peers are certified, board certified peer recovery coaches. And especially in Brooklyn, we're tackling any arrest, misdemeanor level that comes out of the Brooklyn precincts.
So what happens is someone's arrested, they then call you, or you're notified, the Clear is notified, and then it goes through Clear. Then someone comes to the precinct. How does that work?
Exactly. So we have our notification process, which is exactly how you said it, right? We are notified by NYPD in Brooklyn that we have a Clear eligible arrest, which is someone who has been, arrested on possession of a controlled substance. Over the pandemic, we have also seen the increase in petty larceny. So we added that charge to our programming as well. And so, we're a 24/7 program. And so once we get a call from NYPD, we dispatch a peer to go to the precincts and meet with the arrestee. And, at that point, it's where we introduce services, we offer support, right? Both emotional, again, being arrested is something that is, could be triggering,
Traumatic.
traumatizing
Yeah.
even,
Sure.
right? And so, our peers are met with individuals right where they are, right? At the point of trauma, sometimes, yes, at the point of severe addiction. And so, again, as people who are themselves someone who has had lived experience either in criminal justice or in the path of recovery, they offer those immediate support services upon needing them.
Monique, Lisa and I talk about this all the time, both on and off the air. The EAC network is here to help people when they need it most, right?
That's right.
I think a board member actually said that to me about a year ago. We are here to help people when they need it most. I can't think of another time when one of our clients or potential clients needs something more than when they get arrested, right, for a low-level felony or a low-level misdemeanor, I'm sorry. So instead of facing jail time and not knowing and understanding what services are out there, Monique and her team come to
The rescue.
the rescue.
Yeah.
We know that we're up against an epidemic, right, of fentanyl use, of drug use, of trauma in all forms. And so, yeah, it's difficult, but I think that we find joy in knowing that people are wanting help and we're there to offer it.
Do you find that they're very open to the help?
They're open, no judgment, right? Because I think the best part about even the peer services is that it takes that informal, non-clinical approach.
I
Right.
think that's a key word, right? Peers, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is what makes a difference. Absolutely. And it's less intimidating, right? It allows them to open themselves up, and you're 24/7. That's amazing.
24/7. I mean, you would think that, yes, crime is 24/7, right? There is no time gap on crime, unfortunately. And so that's what we have to do. We have to be able to provide services when it's needed, and it's needed all the time. And so, although we have a small team, right? We're not like 100 people, 100 workers, although I'd love to have that. We do have a small group of individuals, like I said, are trained, right? Are trained in this work, who want to do this work, who are passionate about this work and helping. And so they understand that there is no 9 to 5 for this.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about that, right? So you're listening to the More to Do podcast here with the EAC network and hosted by Vertical Media, and our special guest is Monique Powell. But can you talk a little bit about that? I get arrested. I'm in Brooklyn, and it's potentially my first arrest or a low-level arrest. What happens? Can you?
After you're arrested, right, we'll get a call from the NYPD officer who arrested you, so directly from the officer, or sometimes the officer will call the main Brooklyn District Attorney's office, right? We call that the command center. And the command center will call, our hotline, which is our bat cave, as I put it, right? And they'll, let a peer know, they have an individual who has been arrested on either that, low-level drug offense or a petty larceny. And sometimes we even acquire information if the individual has been arrested before.
I was going to ask that.
And if the individual appears to be presenting with any immediate needs, right? And so, we are in collaboration with NYPD. So just like how we're frontline workers, we support them. And so if they tell us that an individual appears to be intoxicated or appears to might have been in some kind of, mental health distress of any kind, they alert the peers to that, and the peers come prepared to support the individual at meeting them at the precinct. We are there to, help to comfort that and let them know, yes, you'll be going home today, right? You'll be leaving, you'll be released, but we want to be able to provide you with some support services, any that you may need, in order to have your case be disposed of and sealed without you ever having to go to court. And usually when individuals hear that, like, oh, great, yeah, help, get me out of here. That's the initial response. But then once we talk more about, what are their immediate needs, social services, do you want to go to a substance use treatment? Do you want mental health services? Do you need housing services? What is it that you want? Right. And I think that's the driving force. We are more client centered, person centered. We are not mandated, right? We're not those ATIs. We are really meeting people right at the beginning where they possibly could go deeper and deeper into the criminal justice system. But our goal is to make sure they never get there.
I think that you raised a very interesting point, right? You're trained. Police have so much to do,
Yeah.
and they can't know everything, right? People look to them for like the end all be all. You should know how to handle this, but you know what? It's an amazing program that they can bring in our trained, facilitators, our trained peers, advocates, whatever you want to call them, angels, to come in and help assist them, empower, assist
and
care the EAC network, to do all the things that we're supposed to be doing, and alleviate the stress of the police officer, to allow them to move forward to doing more, so that we can then care for them in a trained manner, in a manner that's going to help that individual, so that hopefully they can get the services and support that they need, so they don't come back again. Right. And the whole point of this is to help them not come back again.
Exactly. And so we do our best too to make sure that we meet our program's goals, which is really just to provide a community-based response to help address the substance use, right? For an at-risk population, right? While we reduce the involvement of the criminal justice system, right? So we are there to, yes, like you said, support NYPD, because no, they don't know it all. Right? They see it all, but they don't know it all. We want to be able to just go ahead and say, hi, we're here to work alongside of you, with you, support you, right? You tell us what you got going on and we'll pick up the rest. And I think that's how we should always be, right? That just working alongside. Collaboration with NYPD is so important, especially in this work.
That's great to hear. You mentioned a couple other partners, and we want to get to them as well. But very often you hear police officers, maybe even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what is your mission, right? What's your goal as a police officer? And some police officers would say, to arrest people. Mm-hmm. That is not their mission.
No.
Their mission is to provide for public safety. And I think Brooklyn Clear and the programs that you talk about really speak to public safety, really, because we don't want people just going off to jail or to Rikers Island, right? That's so punitive. There's an equitable issue about that. We think that
it doesn't help anyone, right? It doesn't help anyone.
It doesn't help, right? Black, brown, and underserved people are probably going to jail at a high. We know that as a fact, right?
Yes, that's a fact.
That they're going to jail at a higher rate than anyone else. And if you're helping one person, you're not just helping that person. You're helping that person get back to work. You're helping that person get back to their family. You're helping that person get back to the community. And that's what everyone who's involved in law enforcement wants. They want stability, and stability equals a safer community. So I'm so happy to hear that your partnerships are with the Brooklyn DA's office, the NYPD, and I'm sure with
Robert, you told me a funny story, not to interrupt, but you told me a funny story about the DA earlier. Yeah. And I really want you to share that, because I think that speaks to the mission completely and all the work that you do, Monique. I think it's really important.
So, Neela.
This is the biggest compliment I think we could absolutely give
to Brooklyn Clear and to
Clear.
Monique's work, right? Neela Lockall and I, the president and CEO of the EAC network, we were in Albany, and we were talking to state legislators and elected officials about our work and really about our impact, right? We touched last year with direct services 65,000 people. I think
that's direct services.
Right. So I think that number is 365,000 people, because you're not counting their families and you're not counting the communities. So I see the DA in a crowded room, and I walk over and I introduce myself. And hi, I'm Bob Strickoff from the EAC network. And I go into, this is what we do. He puts his hand out and says, stop. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly what you do. And you guys need to do more. And he walked away. Like he dropped,
Mic drop.
he dropped the mic. He's like, you guys need to do more. But Eric Gonzalez, the Brooklyn DA, is a real partner with not only Brooklyn Clear, but all the programs that we have in Brooklyn. We should talk a little bit about that. But DA Gonzalez, if you're listening and your staff is listening, thank you so much for the work you do. Please, we are here to be a continued partner with you in your office and the NYPD.
And he is one of the few that I know personally who are on the ground with us. I can't tell you how many events that he's gone to, community outreaches, and have worked right alongside of our tables to give back. You know, he is one of those individuals. You see him again. He's a direct. He's gonna tell you, no, we're gonna do more. That wasn't even an ask. That's like, no, we're gonna do more.
All right, so now that we all agree that we need to do more, I think I'll give it over to Bob to allow him to do his regular ask that we do in every podcast, which is, we can't do more without people that support us. We can't do more without private funds. We can't do more without, support from the companies around Long Island, around New York, in the metro area. So Bob, take it from here.
Yeah, to support EAC and Monique and her programs, and really the impact, to support the impact, and to see a greater impact as we move forward. Unfortunately, there is more to do.
Yep.
So at the EAC network, EAC-network.org, you can make a donation as little as $20.23, or as high as whatever you want, however comfortable you want to make a donation. We are talking to private companies. We are talking to private foundations. We talked to the state legislature, and we are so proud of the work that we do that I don't mind asking for money.
I don't mind asking for money either, especially when it comes to, topics like fentanyl. And yes, you work with the 18-year-olds and those that are suffering from it, but it has no boundaries, right? It has knows no boundaries.
Right.
It's race, color, creed, all walks of life. So when it comes to fentanyl, that is just a devastating epidemic that we're facing here. We need all the support we can get. So I'm going to ask you to donate $20.23 at EAC-network.org online. Just go to the little donation button that's up in the right-hand corner, and you can donate one time. I mean, it's cheaper than any meal you'll get out there, and the impact that it will have is immeasurable. So please, just $20.23, or as much as you feel comfortable with, like Robert said, and help us fight this epidemic that we have. It's not only, we're talking about Brooklyn right now, but we see it everywhere. It's affecting us everywhere. So help us out and get involved. And, you do so much. Yeah. And we only touched upon a little bit. But I want to ask you, how many calls? We could. We could.
I know, but we can go on forever, I'm sure, about it, because when we talk about, substance use disorders, when we talk about the rise in overdoses, we can talk about the rise and even how, the pandemic, has caused a lot of turmoil in people's homes, which leads to them using, drugs and alcohol, and it's impacting our kids, it's impacting our seniors, right? So we've seen it all. Again, no age limit, no race, no creed. It's amongst us, and we have to do something.
So Monique, how many calls do you see on average in a week?
In a week, wow.
A day. So is a day better?
Should I take it down? Well, in a day, I mean, we're working with about 26 precincts. Calls, we're working in Brooklyn alone, 26 precincts. Wow. So, and that also includes the little precincts inside the subways and things like that. And so, we can get anywhere from maybe one call, which lasts 3 hours to support that person, to 20 to 30 calls. It just depends on, again, the arrests that are taking place. I mean, I know in the city now we have, bail reform and things like that. But again, our NYPD officers who understand our mission and are in collaboration with the efforts to help get community support to address this public health issue, they know, they call us anytime. I've gotten calls when I'm in my bed and I'm like, I'm on it. I'm there. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I'm there.
Monique, Lisa, we have to talk about Monique for just 1 second, right? Okay. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this? I mean, you obviously have a unlimited amount of compassion and passion for this work. Tell us a little bit about Monique Powell and how you got involved.
Well, I grew up here in New York. right? I'm a city kid, 80s latchkey kid in a sense where, my parents, they worked really hard to make sure that I had the best education, but, I like a little taste of the bad life myself. I was impacted by a lot of family members and friends whose parents struggled with substance use disorders very young. And I saw how, it broke families apart to where, you can't even just go to the mall without seeing, a parent or, a community member, a neighbor, right? Possibly just in full-blown addiction and what that looks like. And so I wanted to always just kind of understand what was the nature, what is this thing that people are addicted to that's causing turmoil, like, breaking us up, and, why are families, struggling so hard. And so I went to school at Hofstra University in Long Island for my undergrad.
All right.
And I majored in psychology, but it just wasn't enough. It just, something about it just wasn't enough. Yes, I could do, Freud and theory and, Carl Jung, all that stuff is great, but how does that work on the ground? How does that help individuals who are out here struggling? How does that help families dynamics to change for the positive? So, I went to Albany, very young, and I wanted to talk to a legislator at the time about getting some support services at Hofstra. And just in talking, they were like, you should do like forensic psychology. Like, you have this lawyer in you, and you also have this psychologist in you, and you should look into this program at John Jay. And I'm like, well, yeah, whatever it takes to get you to change the law. So we did a bet that, if I finished, John Jay College for my master's in forensic psychology, that they would allow me to, help and work and develop some policies for the city, and opioid overdose prevention. And that's how I got to EAC, and just connection with John Jay College and professors. And I met, the president of EAC at the time, and, they were just, in alignment with what I wanted to do, which was just hit the ground running and teach my community how to save themselves.
Well, this is a community effort, and it certainly takes a community to make the change, right? So
that is unbelievable. Again, you're listening to the EAC More to Do podcast with Monique Powell. I'm going to read this quote, and I'm going to read it because I don't want to get it wrong. With overdose deaths occurring at a rate of 1 per every 4 hours. 1 per every 4 hours. We must get the tools into the hands of the people who need it, says Monique Powell. What does that mean? What does that quote mean?
That quote means just that. I quoted the actual stats that during the pandemic, and just the research that we've done, and in collaboration with the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene, just collecting the information of how many people are we losing? Like, how severe is this fentanyl overdose? Like, really, how severe is it? And the number is just that. 1 person dies every 4 hours. Like, we're talking about New York, right? In New York City, and within the 5 boroughs alone. Right. And so it's that severe that we have to do more. I mean, I know I'm here at Brooklyn Clear, and we have peers on the ground, and, we're doing those things, but we need collaboration from all systems, because this is really hurting us.
Yeah, that really speaks to your other roles, right? As director of the Opioid Overdose Prevention. You're the director of that, and the supervisor of the Fentanyl Community Engagement and Test Strip Distribution Initiative. We don't have a lot of time because we can be here for 3 hours. Can you talk a little bit? First of all, we got to make sure we got to make sure that when we meet with DA Gonzalez, that you're there, and of course with Commissioner Sewell in the New York City Police Department. But can you talk a little bit about those 2 programs and how that affects the work and what's going on in Brooklyn?
Absolutely. So we just recently, received a large grant for the Fentanyl Community Engagement Project, which, EAC, Crystal and I, the directors, we all got our brains together and wrote for this grant, because we saw that not only was the naloxone kits something that we give to our actual clients and to our community members to help save them, but I wanted to be a little bit more harm reduction focused, right? Because we can't just go with the abstinence. People's, addiction and drug use is individual, right? There is no set standard for how to recover. And so to continue to have this model of abstinence is just not working. It's not enough.
Not at all.
Although people come to it on their own too, to live a life of abstinence,
Yeah.
that's not always how they go through the process. And so harm reduction focus, we said, let's do something to help our clients and help our community members to figure out how to safely use. We have to get on that. And I know, we have people who are, against it, right? The medical model versus, behavioral models, right? But on the ground, we needed the fentanyl test strips in order to provide these services to individuals to understand that the fentanyl that's in these, illicit drugs is killing us. It's killing us, right? But if you're going to use, how can we help you to use safely, right? How can we help you to even engage with our peers, right? To understand and be informed about the drugs that are out there. Again, 1 in every 5 hours, right? We need to be able to do something. So the fentanyl test strips, we do demonstrations for in the precincts, we do demonstrations at high schools, we do demonstrations here at our offices to help to showcase, how to safely use your drugs, or how to figure out if the drugs that you think you're taking is, laced with fentanyl.
That's the key, right? How to find out if the drugs that they're using, if they're using drugs, you don't deserve to die, right? There are plenty of accidental deaths occurring because someone has tried or someone has done something and there's fentanyl in there.
Yeah.
Our mission is to save lives and impact the community in a positive way. So this is our More to Do podcast with EAC. Hate to do it, but I'm gonna tell you, you have to go to the website and get involved because we need community help and community support.
Right.
This is a very serious topic. It affects so many in our community. It affects New York with those scary statistics out there. 1 in 5 are overdosing per hour.
Yeah,
death.
one every 4 hours.
One every 4 hours.
Maybe the DA was quoting you when he said, "I know what you do, and you need to do more." So, Monique, thank you for that.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Monique, thank you so much. It's every day when I talk to one of our angels, I'm just more inspired by the work that we do, but also a little scared, right, of what's out there. And I know that there's more to do. And I can't thank Lisa and Vertical Media enough for hosting this and for getting the word out. So thank you so much, Monique. Keep up the great work.
Amazing work.
And keep your chin up and, make sure that you're out there saving lives, more lives every day. Thank you so much.
No, thank you both. Thank you both. We all have more to do.
We do. Well, thank you, Monique. And this was our More to Do podcast. And Robert, I think that we definitely have more to do, but we have a gala coming up.
Sure.
So just before we go, we have a gala coming up in November.
We do. But before that, we have a golf outing.
Oh, that's
so
great. It is nice weather. It's great for a golf outing.
Yeah, any of our listeners out there, May 15th, our Golf for Good. That is also on the website, eac-network.org, at Fresh Meadow Country Club, which is a very, very wonderful place to play golf and wonderful place to meet our angels walking amongst us. Many of them attend the golf outing. But at the golf outing, you really see and feel the impact because you hear the stories of EAC, the programs and policies that we work on, but you're going to really see the impact. And that's something that we talk about all the time. So eac-network.org, May 15th.
Whether you golf or you don't, because believe me, I do not golf, but I am out there. and I'm out there. I'm taking pictures of you and making sure that you know all the great things that EAC does. And it is a wonderful day to learn even more about our 108 programs.
109. It could be 109. We're appearing before the Suffolk County Legislature tomorrow, and so it could be 110, after we ask for additional funds. But we have Nassau County DA Ann Donnelly as our Public Service Leadership Award honoree at the golf outing. I thank her and her staff for the work that she does on behalf of Nassau County residents. We don't have clear in Nassau County. Maybe that's our next goal. We can work on that.
We can work on that.
We have TASK. Sure. Yeah, we have TASK and other ATI programs in Nassau County. And, of course, the seniors that we feed in Nassau County. So come to the golf outing, May 15th, Fresh Meadow Country Club. Go to eac-network.org and support EAC and our impact. Thank you so much. Thank you to Vertical Media.